Torah Or, Megillah Esther, page 180, first column, second paragraph. Okay, now the Rebbe is explaining the mile of mitzvahs over Torah, that Torah memala kolam Torah's chokhmah, but on the other hand, mitzvahs is the level of rotzeh. And he explains that we say Yochid Chei Elamim Melech, that in order for Yochid to come into Chei Elamim, to become connected to the world, has to be through the level of Melech, meaning through the level of Malchus, which is only a slight order. Just like a king runs the country only with his name, not with his essence. He stays in the palace, but he gives orders, and that's how he runs the country. The same thing Hashem runs the world with a slight order. Okay, so then that's what we say, HaMisnasei Mimei Salem, that Hashem is exalted and removed from the days of the world. He said, V'zeu ki hu levadi modern v'kodesh. That's what we say in davening again. Yeah, Hashem alone is modern v'kodesh. He's exalted, he's removed and holy. Peil gavures. He acts powerfully, matzmiach yeshuos, he plants salvations. The melech kel chai v'kayim rav v'nisa. And he says, that's what Hashem geus lavesh. What does it mean? Hashem, to be a king, dresses as in his garments, shenislabish b'midas geus v'snasis. Hashem dresses himself in the level of exaltingness, whatever. There's bechinas melech ha'elam, to be over the king over the world. Shegeis v'snasis zu. This level of removal, here me'idum is pashetas, is what shines and manifests itself. Cause worlds to be something for nothing, and that's the existence of Kima Yeshagashmi. In other words, like this, the level of Elokus, which is normally removed from world, i.e. Seviv Kolalmin, that is ray of that level is the level of Elokus that makes the world function. That makes the world Yesh Miyayin. And that's the level of Tik and Tevel Baltimate. He establishes the world that it doesn't move, meaning Shebachdeli is Tevel Gashmi. In order for there to be a physical world, Nislabish Bamidas Geus. He dresses himself into the level of Malchus, Laham Shebachinas Malchus Yisbarach, to reveal the level of Malchus, which comes the Kiyama Yesha Gashmi. In simpler English, Hashem's speech, which is the word Malchus, the pasuk says Dvar Melech Shultein, a king rules by speech. So speech, therefore, is the level of Malchus. When Hashem revealed and created the world, how did he do it? Vayom Elokim, Vayom Elokim, Vayom Elokim. Hashem spoke, which is the level of Malchus. Which, by definition, Malchus on its own, a king is not buddies with the people. He's not allowed to be, in fact. All the halachas of a king is that he cannot socialize with people, he cannot be buddies with them, they can't watch him taking a haircut and bathing. There has to be a removal of the king from the masses. Yet, the Malchus, that level of king which is exalted from the world, but he's still connected to the country, out through speech. And the same thing, so to speak, when we say Hashem is king, that means Hashem essentially is removed from the world. It's the level of Sefer Kolamin. That level of Sefer Kolamin, a ray of that comes into the world. And that's the concept of mitzvahs. Mitzvahs are the garments, not like Torah, which is food that you digest internally, you have to understand it. Mitzvahs are called garments because garments you don't internalize inside in a way that you understand it. Mitzvahs is something you do, it's outside of you. And he says, now he's going to the pasuk that he began the Maamar with. It says, Hashem, he said, what did Haman say? But again, Haman said it. Let him bring the royal garments that the king wears, and the horse that the king rides, and so on. That's what does it mean? That's the level of Geis V'snasis Erin Tzav Baruch. That's the level of Hashem Malach, Geis Lavesh, that this exalted level of Hashem is being dressed. Reveal and bring it, meaning that this level of godliness, which is normally removed from the world, to bring this level of godliness down here, it's up to us. Meaning like this, Yavil Levush Malchus means the people should bring, right? Not the king. Yavil Levush Malchus means the people should bring the garment. That means what stimulates and awakens that level of the revelation of the garments, Yavil, the people have to do it. It's a Rusa de Lasata. Because the fact that Elokus is so infinite, then who is he a king over? This is another interesting point. We say in davening every day, before all the way, one of the first things, Adonai Elam, Hashem Malach, he is the king that ruled, the master of the world that ruled, B'tadam Kol Yitzur Nivra, before anything was created. So Chassidus asks, every Maamar of Adonai Elam almost, it asks, how can you be a Melech V'layam? There's a rule, you can't be a king if you don't have a nation. Right? We learned, you can't be a king over your children, because then you're not, a king means there's subjects which are bottled to the king. Children are an extension of the father. So children are an extension of the father. They're not foreigners that subjugate themselves. So l'cheira, how can the tefillah say, Adain elam Hashem molach, b'taydim kol yitzur nivra, ein melech b'layam. Okay? So the Alter Rebbe is alluding to this now. What do you mean, Yavil Levush Malchus? He says, if Hashem is so exalted and has nothing to do with anything, how can he be a king? Over whom? But because this level of Sevim Kolalman is revealed into the Gashmistic objects that we do the mitzvahs with, which are the will of Hashem. Misham Yerev Yizgala. That will cause the revelation of Elokus. But Mamish Begilui Belishim has to pun him levush without any concealment of garments. Meaning like this. When a person does a mitzvah, that's their doing. That's Isarusa de Lasata. What is a mitzvah? The will of Hashem. That means when the person does the will of Hashem, so that causes that the level of the essence of Hashem is revealed, but it's revealed without the garment, without the concealment. In other words, in order to be a king, we say in Ma'ir of every night, Umalchusei berotzein kiblu aleim. In Hebrew, there's Moshel Melech. Right? We say Moshel Bagoyim also. What's the difference between Melech and a Moshel? Moshel means a dictator. A dictator doesn't need the people to accept him. It's totally from above. He dictates. A dictator, the people didn't vote him in. He took over. Melech, on the other hand, u'malchusi berotzin kiblu aleim. Melech, they have to receive. They have to accept the king. You have to coronate the king. Dictators don't need coronations. They don't need the people to say, yeah, I accept you as king. They don't. Doesn't matter. So he's saying that's what when the Jew does a mitzvah, they're basically saying, Malchusim B'Rotzim, we're accepting you because this is what you want and this is what we do. So that causes Hashem to be a king, to reveal himself in the world. But he said, Belishim has to put him levush. In other words, that these physical objects that before the Jew did the mitzvah, their klipas neiga, you can't do avedus with shlosh klipas meis. What klipas neiga, now betelim ne'er Hashem kedushasei hanim shechomer b'hem. That reveals in the gashmistic thing. Now they become batal to Hashem.
What was the difference? Adam Olam?
What?
Adam Olam. What was the answer with Adam Olam?
The original question was before there was a creation, how could Hashem be a king? So how does this answer the question?
No, I just said the question. The Rebbe doesn't say the question here.
What is that?
The answer is it represents a level of Malchus Dein Sof Lifnei Atzimtzum that the whatever. For the future,
You can't just say,
Hashem, there's no present best in the future.
you can't say Hashem has all these titles anyway because he has that personality.
You can't be a Melech. Hashem Molach means that he ruled, not he has the potential, that he ruled. Past tense.
There is man. There is time.
Huh?
There is time. At the time.
Malchus of Bria.
Not by Hashem.
Malchut of Bria. So there is.
Not Malchus of Atzilus, not Malchus of Keser, not Malchus of Akudim, Nukudim, Berudim, Teil, Tikkun, whatever. It's the source of the source of the source for time. And this, bringing down of Alukus, that is dependent on us. Like it says, that the person makes, it's an interesting expression, yeah, meaning sha'adam eisa l'mitzvahs. The Chassidus says like ashayasa eisa ma'adam means the person, by doing it, makes it into a mitzvah. What is the mitzvah when a person does it? So the person makes it into the mitzvah. That's what he's saying now. Is a level of elokus that comes down through doing of a mitzvah. In the Gashmister thing, tzitzah shel tzemet, tefillin shel klava eser. She'esavu semeyayin liyasha gashmi. Yeah. B'shebahem u'meir tzabarach ha'sefer kol ha'makav kol ha'mashua achas. Okay? Now, he's saying that this act of a mitzvah reveals a level of godliness which is higher. Hashem Molach Geras, he puts on his garments, meaning Hashem limits himself to come into the Gashmistika thing. But then when a person does a mitzvah, they reveal it without the garment. Okay, so he says on top of the page, second column, Amnam kiyim ha-mitzvahs b'ma'is adam, asher yaseh b'gufay u'ma'edei. But the mitzvahs that a person does with his body and the money, Levishas atfilin netilas esig nesinas tzedakah. He says, I'm shachas, I'll explain in a second. I'm shachas v'gil achai me'en tzabaruch b'nefesh ha'adam mamish. It says like this. There's the act of the mitzvah. Okay? A person, the pair of tefillin is a mitzvah that Hashem wants. Therefore, the tefillin becomes holy. Right? Now, he said that's one thing, a person, through doing the mitzvah, makes the tefillin holy. But then he says a second thing. Then this brings this level of elokus into the body of the person. There's the mitzvah, and then there's doing the mitzvah. Asher yasa esem ha'adam. That means when the person, like this sefer is holy, yeah? Because it's printed Torah. So therefore there's a lukus revealed in it. Tefillin are holy. Yeah, the pair of tefillin is holy, whether I put them on or not. But when I put on the tefillin, when I take the esrog, when I put on the tzitzis, then I'm bringing this level of lukus into myself, into the body of the person. Not only into the object of the mitzvah, he says, then, b'nefesh adam mamish, hagam shoram shor gam kim chinis makif, ein horezu nimshach meitzav hasevi kolam makos kumashu achas. This is ha'orah from that level, shemisnasim meis elam, which is removal by itself. Okay? Okay, he's going to explain like this. When you do them, he's going to explain now, there's Malchus, okay, which is the garment, the mitzvahs, and then he says, then you have the Keser Malchus. So the Alter Rebbe explains, when the object of the mitzvah is the level of Malchus, revealed without the garment. When the person does the mitzvah, then he brings down the level of not Malchus, but Keser Malchus. He brings down a higher level of Elokus. Okay, he says, because the object of the mitzvah doesn't bring down the essence of Elokus. He brings down a ray of Elokus. Okay? I'm just reading. The object of the mitzvah brings down a revelation of Seviv. That's the Keser Malchus and Keser Reisha Melech, which is even a higher level. What?
Object of the mitzvah means that the act of the mitzvah? Or
No. The object of the mitzvah, the tzitzis, the sefer, the tefillin.
The existence of
Yeah.
And the act of the mitzvah?
That brings down Keser Malchus. That is a much higher level.
I put Purim in my home, that brings the Malchus. I open it and read it, it brings Malchus.
It brings Keser Malchus.
Can you differentiate?
When the Rebbe spoke about one of the mitzvah, Bayis Molis Farim, that Jewish, so that, yeah, but the purpose is not to have the books in the home. The purpose is to learn them.
But now the Alter says just the existence of the mitzvah.
When a Jew does a mitzvah, in other words, the mitzvah itself, like he says, is a revelation of Seviv, a order of Seviv. But when the person does the mitzvah, then they bring down the atzmas. Ashayasa Esav Adam, a person makes it into a mitzvah. The mitzvah means the actual binding with the essence of Hashem. That's Keser Malchus.
Why does he?
And that one, if you look at the pasuk, it says Yevil Vush Malchus, and then Nitan Keser Malchus Bereish is even a higher level.
Why does he compare the essence of Hashem to Keser Malchus?
Keser Malchus, he's going to explain in a second. The essence of the king's throne is the crown. And the jewel crown, that's the essence of the king's kingdom. How does the king's sovereignty manifest itself and reveal itself? That's through the crown. The crown of the king, then. When the king doesn't wear a crown, it looks like everybody else. The crown, that makes the king the king.
Lapi, when Shah of Iran was finished, Saddam paid $90 million to buy his crown. This crown, he wanted to have this crown.
No.
So the king crown had this.
No, that's why, by the way, when Haman wanted to be mamshuk that level on himself, and the king got angry at him. So he took off the crown, right? When he repeated it. Yeah? Because he wants the kingdom. So Haman, Klippa, wanted to be mamshuk that level of Elokus. It's like, Chassidus explains, Haman said, Yasa 8 Gaveh Chamisha Maamar. Make the gallows 50 amas high. Yeah, what do you mean 50 amas? Pshat is 75 feet up, man. There's 7 stories high. Everybody would see. Chassidus explains he wanted to be Mamshech Chamishim Shari Bina. Haman wanted to be Mamshech these levels of Elokus. The pearl, he ended up getting hanged on it because it's not shaykh to Kedusha, to the Klippa. That's level Keser Malchus, And that's what the pasuk says in Shir Hashirim. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Time's up. You're not allowed